everybody. Welcome. Happy Thursday. How are you enjoying the weather? 5 gold stars. Thanks, Seattle, for not raining for just a moment. Awesome. Well, welcome to SEMPA. A few new faces. You haven't been here before, have you? Welcome. It was a long time ago. Okay. Well, welcome back and welcome for your firsties. We are here third Thursdays of every month. We are going to probably do one more SEMPA in May, and then we're actually going to take the summer off. We just have lower attendance, deck parties come, sun, everybody has fun, stuff like that. So we're going to take that off, and then we'll be back in September. For this month, we have Jason Melton, who actually started this whole group. Yay! He's been traveling as a digital nomad, and ever since he led, this class actually used to be in our basement. I lived with Jason for a couple of years, but he started it way back in his multiple basements. And it started as just like 2 or 3 people in the basement jamming out and learning things, and then it grew and it grew and it grew, and then promoter moved in the house, even though you were a promoter, club promoter, moved into the house and was like, hey, maybe we should do this in a club now that it's not in our basement. It was a really nice basement. But it was like a whole basement, right? It was like the size of the bottom of the house. So it was really spacious and cozy, and it was great. Anyway, so Jason is going to teach us a little bit about video with audio. He's been traveling around doing digital nomad stuff. He'll talk about it a little bit, but he's kind of taken his musical knowledge more to pairing music with videos. So we're going to go through that. We'll take a little bit of break after that, and then we'll do track feedback, and I'll talk about what that means once we get there. And you do got to talk into the mic because the video. Okay. Don't forget to plug in your computer so we can see what you're doing. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Mm-hmm. All right, round of applause for Jason Melton. Hey. Plug it in the hole.
Yeah, I forgot how to do that. I plugged it in and it's not doing anything right now. Okay, so yes, I started this many moons ago. Started off in Wedgwood. There was a few, and then it grew up to about 30 every week because it was a weekly thing. I don't know how often we do it now, but I left during COVID, and my wife and I drove through Mexico and Central America for about 3 years. And then we drove back to Seattle, sold the car, and then we flew to Colombia, and then we've just spent the last year and a half in South America. We've lived in 15 countries. During this time, we started a YouTube channel, so instead of producing music, which I did for many years, I switched to doing audio for video, and now I'm doing actually more video editing than I originally wanted to do. Because I'm sure all of you know that when you start doing production, it consumes a lot of your time, and once you dedicate too much time to something, then it's hard to dedicate enough to do the other thing. So, and that's also why I never liked doing DJ mixes, because I already obsess over a 7-minute song. Why do I want to obsess over a 1-hour mix? So that just sounds like torture to me. Oh, it looks crooked. It doesn't look as bad for you all as it does for me. I was on my way here, and I stopped at a weed shop and left my glasses at the counter, and so I am kind of blind right now. All right, so our videos that we make are around 15 to 20 minutes long. This one here is actually our time in Cartagena. So the way we do the process is that my wife will do all the editing. She'll put the video together. Then we will select music for the video, and then she will edit it by putting markers on the Premiere Pro so that she will know where to put it on a beat so that like the video lines up with like a certain thing. What happens after that is I get a really dumbed down video. So instead of giving me like a high res video, which is going to bog up Ableton, which is not necessarily a video editing software, I will get like a 4K, or not a 4K video, but like definitely a dumbed down like 420, 480, version of it. So it doesn't look great, but it looks better than you would think when you only have like a little small screen over here on the side. And then I'm basically taking all the music, and I am taking sound effects, and I'm adding a lot of effects on everything to make the audio pop through the video, or I'm sorry, the vocals come over the songs, and then there's obviously lots of other tricks I have to do where I'll loop some things to make some things last a little bit longer. It's not a too hard of a process at this point, but it's pretty handy. Now, how many people here are producers right now and have made a few songs? Oh, wow, everybody. Excellent. What kind of music do you make?
Bass music, trap, dubstep.
Fantastic. Right on. How long have you been producing?
8 or 9 years.
Oh, that's fantastic. Awesome. Love to hear something. You playing something tonight?
Yeah.
Great. I want to hear that. How about you guys? I know you do animation, but what do you do for audio-wise?
I've been working on an aggressive version of progressive house music. I've been working on a collaboration with this guy since about September.
Right on.
So we're finally ready to give it a rip on the system.
Okay. And you, obviously progressive house, but anything else?
I'm all over the board. I don't really have a genre. I do like IBM, house,
Whatever comes to mind. Yeah, I get that. I totally get it. One time I worked at Microsoft, and we worked on the Xbox team, and we recorded sounds from the menu of an Xbox, and then I made a total like a hip hop beat out of it, and then we rapped over it. It was pretty funny, but it's really cool when you can make a beat out of just bullshit sounds off of a menu. Like just push this button. Oh, okay, I'll take that sound to do this. Okay, and then over here with the beanie on, what kind of music do you make?
making a lot of house music lately, trance, but also just experiment with whatever I'm feeling.
Gotcha. Okay, and then I know you're new here today in the middle. So have you made music before, or are you just trying to learn for the first time?
I'm learning. I'm like very much a beginner.
Okay.
And made like half a song with him so far, but I really like to make some house music and bass house and stuff like
Yeah. I always like to tell people, especially when it comes to confidence, when it comes to production, is to work on remixes at the beginning, because you will get a lot of confidence at the beginning because you can kind of stay in the same key and just make it real, like just easy edits. And then once you do a couple of those, you get a little like wind in your sail. Then you just start working on the next level of making your own songs, or taking remixes and making them your own version of it, and then eventually making your own songs. It just helps with the confidence, because there's always a learning curve with software and things like that. So doing remixes is just a nice way to do it. That's how I trained Mindy originally. And how about you, sir?
I make progressive house mainly.
Jesus, that's right, my.
Kind of all over the place too, but like I used to make future bass, and I've been making music for like 10 years.
I make prehistoric bass. And how about for you?
I try and make a lot of stuff, but they usually turn out as techno.
Okay.
So I guess I make techno.
So quite a vast array. I started with right out of high school. I graduated in '93. Hip hop was huge for me. '90s hip hop was the shit. So I thought that's all I was gonna make. I did college radio, and then I got into production from college radio. Everything was reel to reel. That's some serious editing when you're rolling reels back and forth and putting a grease pen, cutting it with a razor blade, taping it back up, and like we were gonna put a Beastie Boys song, the song Sure Shot, on the radio, and it had 3 bad words, so I had to cut them and turn the tape upside down so that it would play the backwards. So instead of shit, it said ish, So just stupid shit like that. And then it was the first time I ever saw a keyboard that had a floppy disk in it, and then you could record any sound into a key, like a C, and then I used to do the, and then we would go through and like play different raindrops. It was a lot of fun. I did a lot of commercials at that time for the radio station, so that's how I kind of got my start. I made a couple of hip hop beats in there just for fun, but I didn't take them anywhere. It was just really me just going, oh yeah, over a beat. So because I can't rap, I get tongue tied easy. And then I got into DJing, and then I went and got a second degree in audio production. So I started teaching this stuff because that's what I know best. Might not be the best producer in the world, but I know my shit. So I know how everything works and all these things. I know how to tweak my my effects to make things sound good. Anyway, so I will start with the layout. So this top track right here is the actual video track that I get from my wife. So when she gives me the video, it has an audio track on it, but it's always going to be muted except for when I need to line up vocals. Now, originally, when we were doing our camera, we would have the camera set up and we have our little microphones, but we couldn't get, well, at least my wife at the time couldn't figure out how to make that work with the camera. So it was me taking and syncing it later. It goes pretty quick, especially she kept trying to get me to do it in Premiere Pro, but if you already know a program really well and you know it's geared specifically for audio, you find out pretty quickly that if you try to use something that's not geared for audio, it sucks badly. Like trying to move, like it just jumps a lot in Premiere Pro, where here I can unlock the grid and slide it and then it's just perfectly matched. And then so there's never an issue there. So I would take the recording from the microphones, put them in here. I cut all the dead space. And then you have to edit some things that you flub because I am a mush mouth and I flub a lot. So I have to fix a lot of the dumb things I say, which is pretty much all the time. I'm sure Mindy knows that. I say dumb shit 24/7. And then I have songs. So along this project, you will see all the songs start coming in and they're all in order. So there's some that are the same. Like we have obviously an intro song and an outro song. And then along the way, we've got not only our vocals personally that we did with the microphones in front of a camera, excuse me, and then we also had to do some voiceover parts because there's some parts that we want to be a little bit more serious about it. So where I just talk, I don't have a script, I just say whatever the hell I want to say. And then there is couple of sound effects. When I used to do this on my Mac, I also had another program that I plugged into it, which was Contact Complete. And so I would link into that, and then I would do my own build-ups through that because I had all of that as well. But unfortunately, my Mac doesn't work as good as it used to, so I had to switch to this piece of shit. So I miss my Mac. Not to cry a little bit about it more. All right, so first of all, I will pull up the video window. I'm pretty sure none of you all can see that at all, can you? Yeah, I'm just trying to show video, but I can't read any of this right now. Shift Command V is what I thought I did. Here, let me try this.
You want to borrow my glasses?
Yes, if I can for just a hot second. I literally left them at a store on the way here today, so I have to wait till I'm on my way home to get them. Ooh, man. Oh, Jesus, no. I actually looked into the future and saw the day I died in those. I can't go back. All right. Who's got really good vision and wants to come up here and look at this real quick? Once I can do everything else, I just can't see that right now.
So what do you?
I'm trying to show video. So it's. I guess that video window is.
Oh, video window. Right there.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. That's so embarrassing. What's even funnier is I just did my last 6 DJ gigs that I'll ever do in my life, since I've been here, and I actually wear my wife's glasses for the whole thing. It's really funny. They say Shannon K on them. I'm like, oh, this is so manly right now. Here. All right, so I will go ahead and play through it real quick. just for a few seconds so you could just see what's going on.
Historically, the most touristy of the cities have been our least favorite. So I honestly did not have a huge expectation to love Cartagena, but I did.
It's all the way in. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of what's going on now. What we have to do is we want Sorry. Hi there. Sorry. So what we obviously want to do is have the music kind of punch through, but also have our vocals punch through. And you can't have both because everything sits in a EQ. And if you have too many of the same frequencies, they get buried, and so it becomes unintelligible. So if I have my voice coming through at the same time as a song that has in the same frequencies, it just becomes a jumbled mess. So the way you combat that is that you're going to use EQ a lot, which I know I've stressed this for the 5 years I did this thing, but EQ is the most important plug-in you'll ever use. It does everything. It makes everything sound better. And then everything else is just to make it more fun, if I can be honest with you. In recording bands, you do a lot of that where you will duck out all the background noise. You'll get the low hum out of the room. That's like the most important things. That's how you make all of your instruments sound the cleanest. And then also, when you have instruments that are in the same frequency range, you turn down certain frequencies so one instrument kind of pops out where the other one will go. So like, if I have two horns, one's maybe a little higher, I will duck down on one horn where the higher one is on the other, and then peak that up a little bit, just so that it pops over the other one. So EQ, a lot of it is also addition by subtraction. So the more you take things down, the more other things come out. So one problem that a lot of people do when they're doing production is they keep adding and adding and adding, and it gets to sound too much. And so the best thing to do is start turning it down and then find what you want to pop back out. So it becomes a real mess. Lots of producers kind of produce that way. I used to slam a lot of sounds together, and then once it sounds like shit, I start taking things out, and then I go, there's the song I was looking for. So that's one technique we use. So on the music, what I'll do is I will put what I call the smiley face EQ. So you'll take the frequencies and you'll in the range that her and I are in, I will turn down the music in those frequencies by about 3 or 4 dB. So what that's going to do is it's going to make me pop out a little bit more. But then I will put that same EQ on our voices a little bit, maybe an extra dB or two. So then it pierces through a little bit more. The other thing I like to do is I'll use sidechain compression. Now, typically for music, sidechain compression is something that you can make where you'll have your kick and your bass. So you'll have your kick going, and every time the kick hits, it activates the compressor so that it turns down the bass for just that little bit, so that the kick still pops through when they're playing on the same frequencies. I do the same thing here. So every time one of us starts talking, the music ducks down for just a little bit. And so what happens is I have it on a very quick curve, so as soon as we stop talking, it's right back, the music's back. So you don't ever really miss a beat in the music, but we are not being like overshadowed by the music. You can...
This homie's got your glasses, man.
Oh my God, you're the best. Actually, my wife's glasses. Oh my God, that's so much better. Holy shit, I can see this thing. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I will buy you a drink or something. Or take you outside and smoke you. Not smoke you, but smoke you out. I mean, I have before. Let's not. Okay. Anyway. So there's a lot of this playfulness when it comes to frequencies. And I don't know how many of you all have done that kind of thing before, but I can't stress it enough that EQ is your best friend in the world. Like, the more you do with the EQ, the less you're going to have to do with mixing later. So because it just everything's in the sound, and you want to put everything in its bucket. So like on the bass sounds, you'll put bass and their spots, and you'll take everything that's not in that bass frequency out completely. And then also you got to think about crossover points. You know, you have a crossover point when you play at a club. So when you're EQing a bass, you also want to put it in there where that crossover point is, so it's going to sound cleaner between the two frequencies on the crossovers of every club. So things to consider. All right, so as I'll pull up here, let's go up to the VO channel, and let's get rid of the video for now. So I obviously am going to put a compressor because I want consistency in our voices. No one's ever going to talk perfectly the whole way, because then you're just going to sound monotone. Hi, my name is Jason. I like to eat peanut butter. It's not going to be fun. So if you're doing it like where you talk a little lighter, a little expressive, it actually projects the video more and makes you sound more excited about the things that you're talking about. So to combat that, where sometimes we're going to talk quieter, we're going to put a compressor on there. I don't put a heavy compressor like I used to do with music. I will do more of I think it's at a 3.5 or 4, 2.86, okay, even lower. So my ratio is 2.86 to 1. And so what that's going to do is it's just going to turn down 2.86 points to 1. So what that's going to do is it's going to make it far more consistent when we're talking. It's going to make us pierce through the track more. I can turn us up a little bit more, but I also don't want it to peak because clipping is bad in digital, so I got to avoid that. And then as you can see here, I got an overall EQ on here, getting rid of any of the low sounds and the high sounds. We recorded this outside, so you're going to get earth sound. Earth automatically has like a low. I'm standing right over the thing I'm talking about here, as a matter of fact. So earth sound, I don't know how many of you guys know about that, but the earth produces a rumble, and it's going to be picked up on any microphone. If you have a studio, even if you can't hear it, if you watch, when you turn on the microphone in your studio, you'll watch the little thing bumping like that. So that's just straight up earth sound. So to combat that, you put an EQ on these low frequencies, it's gone. And then we also have other things, wind. So I have to combat the wind. So how do I get rid of that? I turn down a lot of the higher frequencies, and then obviously use a windsock as well. So that's on our total group channel of VO. And then on the individual channels, I also have an EQ that's going to feature our voices a little bit more. So Shannon, she doesn't have a lot of bass in her voice. So I obviously increase the low end. Why don't I go ahead and click off of that? And then there was also some wind going on. So I turned down some of the frequencies here on right here where you could actually get rid of some of the extra wind sounds. And she has a little bit of a hot S when she talks. So I try to combat that as well by bringing down those frequencies a little bit more. So my goal is to warm up her voice and bring down some of the tinny sound of her voice. Okay, then there's me. I have a lot more bass in my voice. And, oh, that doesn't say, that says balls off. That's a different thing altogether. What is that sound? Oh, now I'm interested. I think someone said something in there where it sounded like someone said balls off, and I thought that was funny, so that's why I named it that. Okay. And then we have our voiceover. So now that is going to be recorded completely different because I'm going to be inside. I'm going to have the microphone right here so that I'm very close, lots of proximity. I don't know how many of you guys know about the proximity effect, but the closer you are to a mic, the more presence you're going to have, the more bass you're going to have. So it's not going to sound like something you did outside because you're so much closer to the mic where every other sound is coming into the mic when you're outside or in a studio and are further away from the mic. So what we want with that is we want that like professional sounding person, like, so in 1873, this, and this, and then, that's basically what we do with those kind of things. That's when we'll pull up the Wikipedia and find out what we need to know about Cartagena for our videos. And then we start with our music tracks. So you'll see up here at the top where I have put markers in here. And those are usually signifying where I need to put a song. So I get the music from her separate, and then we've already determined where they're going to start. And then I'm going to match it up with the video that she gives me. And then I might make some changes if I feel like it sounds better a certain way, like, oh, it'll be better if this came in at this time. Or I've also extended things to where it makes it sound better, like the transition sounds a lot better that way. So you can go down the list here, but with that, you will see I have the EQ on there, and right here, let me step out of the way here. You'll see that I have the EQ turned down more in the middle because that is where our voices are. So I'm trying to make our voices pop out more over the music. And then I brought down the bass down because I don't need a lot of bass in this song. I'm not trying to make someone dance in front of their phone or their TV, you know. So just make it sound like the sound sounds great, but I just don't need it to be just banging. The days of banging are long gone. And then you'll see here is my sidechain compression. So if I were to play through this.
Exactly.
You'll see the sidechain compressor.
We can see it really well from our apartment.
Activating every time I talk.
We got used to our little
Yeah, there we
neighborhood
go.
in Manga. It was right where there was actually a lot of little
So
old
that's the volume
mansions.
being turned down
There's a
every
beautiful little
time
store
I start talking.
right by
it's
the
turning the music down. So like,
Our apartment in Manga was
so
not
I'm
real
really
big.
present right there. And then the music comes back up.
Just had a nice sized living room. Great place
So
for
it
us to
kind of
work.
keeps the energy
really small
going,
kitchen,
but lets my
and
voice
then
pop
a really
out.
nice bathroom and bedroom. It's perfect for just.
So that's how you use sidechain compression in something like that. You want your voice to pop over the audio, just put a sidechain compression. Your voice is going to be the feature. The music's going to duck in the background. As soon as you say you stop talking, music comes right back up. Like I said, most people use it. Producers use it for an effect, like either to make the bass dance around the kick, or you can just do some fun effects where you can put a trigger and then make something warp sound. So I've done both. The old house songs from the 90s, they used to do that filtered disco, and that was what they did. They just put a driving beat, and then they just made the sample just duck in and out. So it just, DJs, if you listen to any DJ Sneak song from 95 until 2005, they all sound like that. He pretty much he made a career off of using a sidechain compressor, and a filter. So that's basically what we're looking at when I put the actual things on the effects on the songs themselves. Each one of these tracks, I have them all mixed down to lower levels because I don't want them to be too loud, especially when it's on YouTube. And then the other thing is I will turn down the actual gain as well usually. This one I just actually turned it down to -17, so it's still present. It sounds loud for being turned down so much, but it still pops through. But that's also because in the end, I do my master channel. And there we are. So on my master channel, I will switch out a EQ point right here, which is that frequency is going to be 150 hertz. And then after that, I always, and I've done this for every song I've ever made, I will dip down on 3K. And there's a reason why 3K is very important when you're doing production. I don't know how many people know this, but the size of your ear canal is the same size of a frequency as a 3K wave. So people are very sensitive to 3K. Most alarms that you have in the world, like fire alarms and everything, typically are around that 3K frequency because it's an annoying frequency to your ears and you just want to go away from it. So what happens is if you listen to too much 3K, you get ear fatigue. I don't know if any of you have been mixing for long periods of time in a day, and then you're just kind of just done and your ears are tired. It's because it's called ear fatigue. So to combat ear fatigue and make things sound cleaner, I will always put a dip in 3K so that it will keep that bad frequency out of people's ears. The last thing I want people to do is go, oh, that sounds like shit. So obviously you do other effects as well, but that 3K is something I learned in college, and I've used it ever since. Yeah, do we have a question? That one is it's from my old DJing days. Whenever I would produce music, I would drop it at 150, which is usually the crossover point between the speakers and the club. It's just a habit. It's not like I'm making a club banger. I'm just literally just putting it in there still as if it really is important. And then you put the limiter on the end. I had a lot more tools on my Mac, obviously, as I said before. On this PC, I don't, so I'm using the basic Ableton bullshit. I don't have my Wave plugins, and I don't have Complete, so I just use a limiter. My whole producer life, I used an L1 Ultra Maximizer, or later the L2 Ultra Maximizer, which is a Waves plugin, which is what got everyone to that industry standard of getting your shit as loud as you can without going over. It's like the fucking Price is Right of music. So I do this. I just do a standard limiter. I put it as at like -1, and then I just turn it up to. I try to keep it at a respectable sound. So I try not to go over 5 because then it just starts to sound just in your face, and I'm not trying to do that with a YouTube video. You know, if I was making a rock song, fuck yeah, let's just do it. But, you know, I'm not doing that. So if I play it, you will watch as that will dance around. I have this one turned up quite a bit. There's not much gain reduction now because there's only just music. So let me put on.
Enjoy 1 week with a friend and have a wonderful place to stay right in the heart of the city.
We've known each other since we were 18 years old.
It's a beautiful place to stay. There's
You
a
can
lot of
see it
history in the building
getting
we
up
were
there,
staying
but it
in.
never
was over
gets
100
over.
years old. And we were right next to Parquet Boulevard, which happened to be closed at the time. They were doing some remodeling of the.
Which in the end is just another gain stage along the way. When it comes to audio for video, it's really just the simplest shit you could think of. It's not like producing a song where you have to be super creative. The first couple videos we made, I made all the music for it, and that was fine. But it was easier when I was driving around in a car and could take a whole bin of audio gear with me. And now we're traveling through with suitcases only, so I don't have any editing hardware anymore. So my editing thing is just my mouse, and that's it. So it's not exactly the way I like producing anymore. I would say the first 20 songs I ever made in my life were sitting on a bus on my way to work. My commute time was the fucking most productive time ever because there was like an hour and a half commute each way. I made so many songs on that goddamn bus to and from Microsoft. I said I was going to name my song Bus Music, which was just funny to me, but I don't like to do it that way anymore, especially after you've built a full studio and you have all the equipment you could ever imagine, and then going back to just using a finger on a mouse pad just sounds so bad. So don't do that anymore. We do some sound effects as well. I had an internship when I was in college back in the 90s, and at that internship they had a hard drive in one of the studios, and I plugged my computer or my hard drive into the same computer, and somehow those ended up on my hard drive. So I ended up with a really big sound effects library. Can't really use them for anything major, but I can sneak one here and there. But then also there's a plethora of shit online as well. I've collected samples and sound effects for 30 years, so I've got a whole hard drive full of that stuff. So unfortunately, I don't have it as we travel, so sometimes I have to hit up a friend. I'm like, hey, man, do you have a sound of this? And then they'll send it to me. So I do invite people, if you have songs that you think you would want to put on a YouTube video, I always offer people if you want to make something. Obviously, these are very Latin-based because every country we've been in has been in Latin America. So we try to stick to that stick to that theme right now. But when we go to Europe and Africa for the next 3 years, we're going to obviously switch up the music from there. And European music is everything, so I can actually go back to making some music. Because for me to try to make a Latin song, it's like a gringo making a Latin song. It doesn't sound right at all. It's like, oh, it's got a Latin flair, but that shit doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't. Like when you go and you hear real shit, you're like, oh man, that's good. And then you go home, you're like, oh man, that sounds so cheesy. It sounds like something from like a commercial. And I can't, my Spanish isn't that good to try to talk over it either. So what else? Do you all have any questions on music production in general? Because I can answer things for you as well. I will do that. Because there's not much more to cover on video. Unfortunately, there's not much to it. It's literally just putting your stuff in there, doing some EQ things. I can literally knock one of these videos out in like an hour or so. So it's really simple. But as I said before, the most important thing is if you are going to do something for video in Ableton, dumb that video down as low as you can, the lowest quality as you can, because you don't really need the video as much. And then once I bounce this, I put it on top back into Premiere Pro, and then I get a really clean sounding recording into that. So without the shitty video software trying to tell me it's good audio. Okay, so I saw someone had a hand up. I'm going to get out of this projector. So in Ableton you have warp. Oh yeah, sorry. The question is how can I have the different tempos in the songs and not have it affected by Ableton? So Ableton is going to default to 120 beats per minute. What you do is when you put the songs in, it's going to try to take whatever song I put in there, which is going to range from 85 to 130 beats per minute. And what I will do is I will take the warp off. So now it's just the original song. Once you do that, but you can't do all the easy editing that you used to do anymore because you can't really put your pinpoints on there anymore. So if I want to do any editing, I'll probably do that separately and then go back, make it one track, and then I will unwarp it again. Oh, I haven't ever done. He had asked if you could put the tempo changes in, and is it if I've ever done that before. I've honestly never had to mess with that. I keep the songs at the tempo they are, and even the songs that I made before, if I wanted to change the tempo, I would probably do it in another project, change the tempo, then bring it back in. So it does. Mm-hmm.
Logic is the only thing that I can use where it's essentially like the video stays as its own file, and then your music is like a template over it.
Yeah.
So that file stays the same, but that's the only software in Pro Tools, but I can't get back to Pro Tools.
No, it's too expensive.
That's my opinion.
I started in that one, but yeah, I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, I feel like everyone starts in it and goes, I can't do this anymore.
Well, for me, it was that you really couldn't get a lot. Like, the program was great, but like the only intro price was just getting a two in, two out thing, and that sucked for me because I wanted to record bands. And so I went with Logic originally, and I went and bought a PreSonus 8-channel in. So then I was like, oh, cool, I could bring people in and record them, which was fucking handy as hell. But it's like, even if you wanted to go up to the Digi 02 back then, I think it only had 4 inputs on the Pro Tools one. I was like, and that was like thousands of dollars, and I was just a student. I was like, fuck that noise. Like, yeah, I think. I've never had that issue pop up, honestly. So, I mean, we're when we're doing these, like I said at the beginning, they're 15 to 20, up to about 22-minute videos. And when I unwarp it, I've never had an issue where it changed the frame rate. Like as soon as I give it back to my wife and she pops into Premiere Pro, it's synced perfectly. So it's never happened to us. Maybe that's a setting.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I just I went on a deep dive, and it was like a whole.
How long are these videos that you're doing it for? Because I'm wondering if it's over time, if it's like an hour-long video or something.
Yeah, it was a full day.
Okay, that might be different because if you're only doing, if you're only doing like 10 to 15 minutes, it might not make it seem that way versus like 2 hours in, all of a sudden now there's a little bit of difference in the time.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because they shot it on film, so I don't know if it was like because of that.
Could be.
It makes sense because it's an MP4 when I put it in, so it won't really matter.
Yeah.
It was something I didn't really mess with it, and then I ended up just doing I recorded myself doing changes and had like an actual metronome.
Oh, wow.
It was super ghetto. The only way I got it to work is I went back to Logic and had to have it flow with software going, which was awesome.
You're still using Logic pretty regularly?
No, for film stuff, yeah, it's the only way.
Yeah, I used it for video originally, yeah.
I was super excited to see if you had like a trick.
No, unfortunately, I've never had that issue. Now I'm going to be weary if I ever make a longer video, so.
Well, I don't know if I'm right on that. Completely messing something up. I was just,
Yeah.
so I don't want to do it.
No, you're good.
So what do you mean when you say merging? Are you changing the automation in the master track?
Yeah, like,
Okay, you're not doing that.
No, I don't. I'm just making it so people can hear you all.
yeah, it was a scoring thing. So I was like actually scoring the film. So I was like trying to work in Ableton because that's what I like the most, right?
And what was your expectation that what was your expectation that the film would continue on at the same rate if you're making a change to the overall beats per minute of the entire project?
Yeah, if I unwarped it, I thought that it would stay as just the file, and it wouldn't change any sort of warping. But because of how Ableton is programmed, and I went so far as to contacting Ableton about it, and they gave me quite the runaround of an answer.
So you've got a long film. You've got individual pieces of music that you're composing, not dropping in audio clips like he is, right? So you've got like synthesizers and drum rack and whatever else in there. I see. What happens if can you split the film up so that each part of the film is a different project? You don't want to do that because you can't watch the whole thing at one time.
So that is what I ended up doing, and it's still in the beginning. So I went by every cue point. So that's usually how I'll do scoring. Is that they'll give me a list of cue points, and then I just put the cue points in as separate project files within. In Ableton, we can have like a hierarchy of project files you can save within a giant project. Oh man. Oh god. Okay. So you can change if like just how I like able to keep track of things. If I'm doing like a film project, it'll be like the film will be one Ableton project file, and then I'll have all of the cue points as like sub sessions within there. And so every single cue point is a session file, but right when I started, because it was like, I've done scoring a lot, but I've always done it I've either like made it in Ableton and then put it into Premiere or something, which sucks. So I was trying to avoid all that headache, and this was like my first like commissioned one, so I was being paid on this one, so I was like trying to do it the right way. And I couldn't find an answer for that one, and Ableton said that they might do that update on 12, and I haven't looked yet, so I'm hoping that they changed that. So maybe this whole conversation is just gone because Ableton 12 is like updated and it's all good. But
I'm using 12 now, so.
oh, okay. So yeah, I opened 12 and I've only been working. I get afraid with updates, so I just like anytime I update, I go, oh god. And then sometimes like all the Fab Filter stuff I had like just stopped working for a little while, and him and I were working on stuff, and you couldn't see any of the. Anyway,
I always wait three months before I update updates.
Yeah.
Mr. McCoy over here has got a question.
Actually, this is kind of on piggybacking on this issue. Are we like doing this because like I'm wondering if Premiere doesn't like the file types that we export in Ableton. Does it just not like WAV files or something?
No, I've never had an issue.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's how Ableton is like programmed. It's
Yeah.
and because Ableton's not really meant for like a scoring software.
Mm-hmm.
Most like professional scoring people will use like Logic or they'll use Pro Tools or something. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm like mostly electronic producer, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna use the DAW I know, but I know
Yeah.
Logic, so I'm like, okay.
And you can, as he said, you could turn down specific individual aspects of the song versus if you're in Premiere, you gotta go with the whole ass song, basically.
Yeah.
Well, you can't chop it up at all. Like
Yeah.
once you get into Premiere, like your editing ability is really deteriorating.
Right.
Take it out like, oh, you can do full audio. I'm like, nah, you can't do full audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great for what if you just really want a really easy peasy fucking audio thing, but like if I want something better, I'm gonna take it somewhere else and then bring it back because it's great for video. Like it's awesome, it's one of the best video programs you have out there. But as far as like audio, no, it's subpar.
Yeah.
Like, I would use Fruity Loops over that.
Fruity Loops.
I had Fruity Loops or even Cakewalk back in the day.
Huh, okay, for sure. Yeah, because like I'm used to making like visualizers and stuff where I don't have to actually like think about the video from the audio from the original video clip. Usually, sometimes I'm just making some After Effects that has no audio, so you just kind of go ham with it. But if you're working with pre-existing audio and trying to mix it together, it makes sense because you also don't have to like export stems or whatever to try to turn down or any of that.
It gets heavy real quick.
Anyone else remember Cakewalk at all? Okay, I dated myself like a motherfucker right there. Like, somebody remembers Cakewalk. All right. Or Steinway. That one was a bad one too.
Different question. You mentioned something about you do it as a habit. You duck down some frequency. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. So we did that, my production partner and I, Rob, we used to do that from when we were in school. That was, our teachers used to tell us that was the main crossover point when it comes to subs. So you put that dip down so that it would be a separation between your sounds when you're doing your final production. So it just made the bass come out a little cleaner. And it's not like you're not doing a wide cue, you're doing a very sharp cue, and you're just bringing down that 150. Just for that little bit of separation between the mid bass and the bass. That was all. It was really something that's just out of habit that I've been doing for 25 years now. So it's generally true. Yeah. Yes, on your master, on your main. So and I don't know if you guys ever worked with your effects in those channels. You put them in a specific order so that they will do certain things. So like you will put an EQ before another effect because you don't want the frequencies that don't need to go into that effect to go into the effect. Sometimes it's the opposite. Maybe you want the compressor to go be full bore and then EQ it on the way out. That's always going to be for flavor, but putting them in whatever order makes a big difference. If you move them around, you will notice differences in the sound. Or at least I always have. So all right, I think we're getting close to hearing everybody's songs. Oh yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, this might be a basic question.
Yeah.
I tried to upload my video to Ableton the other day. I recorded the video using my iPhone, but Ableton was not accepting it. It was saying like something like you don't have the license for this file, and I looked up the internet and I encoded it into different format. I was not able to.
Well, that's odd. I've never imported one of my iPhone files into Ableton. I've brought them into Premiere Pro, and then we do everything, and then I take an MP4 later into Ableton. So as far as if there's a file incompatibility with Ableton, that's a possibility, because I think those are called like HEIC or something like that. Audacity can get rid of that.
Yeah, if you have Audacity, bro, you could like. Oh, yeah, there's a microphone. So if you have Audacity, bro, have you tried putting the file in there? Because if you export it through there, it can get rid of that HEIC, and it might work in Ableton. So.
Audacity does video?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, it may not like not audio formats. Like, it might need an MP3 or a WAV. So I don't know what like format the file's in, but if Audacity might be more friendly with those kind of file formats than Ableton, come to think of it. So give that a go.
Matter of fact, let me exchange information with you. I'll run some tests on that, and then I'll let you know what I can come up with.
I'm wondering if there's like a converter though, like, because even in my business, even though it's not video, like that HEIC, like I have to convert every single photo that any vendor ever sends me in that format online to a JPEG. So I'm wondering if you could convert it into an MP4, and maybe that's what you could they make free converters too.
VLC is the video converter I use. It's pretty good Swiss Army knife. My question is like I think I tried to import a video into Ableton and it was a codec issue. Is Ableton picking up the codecs that are in your system, or do you have to like load special codecs into Ableton specifically? What's the relationship there? All sorts of questions for you that you're gonna frown and I don't know. I didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we only import MP4, so I've never had any compatibility issues. But if you have anything, just let me know, and I'll run a test.
So the answer to that question is he's only imported MP4s so far.
The file that I tried to import was MP4,
Oh.
but still with MP4 there are like different codecs.
Uh,
Now it has been
Okay, I'll find that out, and I'll reach it.
yeah. All right, round of applause for Jason Milton. You're so smart. He's like, I don't think anyone's going to want to talk about the thing I'm going to talk about. And then everyone came and you're like, actually, we have a bunch of questions. And I was just like, what is happening? Did you have an additional question? Okay.
What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Hello? No, you better plug your shit.
It's called Amore Life Digital Nomads. It's just two old people. I'm 50 and my wife's 55, and we just travel. We're going to try to see as much of the world as we can, and in 4.5 years, we've lived in 15 countries.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool channel, actually. I watched a couple like when I'm getting ready to travel, and they're great. All right, one more round of applause, because let's do it. Thanks, Jason. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We do have a full house of people that want to share their tracks. I'll explain all the rules when we get back for that. Kaz, do we have an extra mic for that portion at all? It could even be one that's up here by itself for the people that want to talk about their track, and then I can pass this one around if that's cool. All right, go people.